In the least predictable story that you'll hear all year, it turns out that Donald Trump left his own supporters stranded in the aftermath of a rally that he held, perplexingly, in the Coachella Valley in California. His fans were left at the venue without enough buses to get them back to the parking lot, meaning they had to walk 2 hours at night in the desert to get back to their cars. Here's a video that one Trump supporter posted online.
This isn't normal. Apparently the buses are no longer coming, or at least there used to be like 20 buses when we were being brought here, but now there's only like 3 buses operating, and it's an absolute,
He says it tastes like water.
it's just chaos, absolute chaos. All of us are stranded here. Everyone's stranded here.
They didn't have much left.
Something went wrong. Look at this.
The same Twitter user also took to Twitter posting, "It's 10 p.m., rally ended at 7 p.m., thousands of people still stranded here waiting for transit back to the parking lots. Something has gone horribly wrong. Someone needs to ask the Coachella mayor if he had anything to do with this. Parking lot is a 2-hour walk. Countless elderly stranded here and can't walk anymore. No restroom facilities accessible anymore. Someone find out what happened here. This is not normal and feels nefarious and criminal." Was just told by a bystander that the sheriff said there's only 1 bus in rotation and turnaround time each drop-off is 30 minutes. These poor people are going to be stranded here early into tomorrow morning. How did we go from 20 to 30 buses down to 1? This needs to be investigated immediately. 2 buses just drove by. Haven't seen any buses for almost 2 hours. Someone please reach out to Sheriff Chad Bianco and President Trump to get to the bottom of this. I think something nefarious went down tonight trying to spark a riot. Everyone's stranded. This is horrible. And then he tagged J.D. Vance, who I'm sure was extremely worried about what was happening. Tagging J.D. Vance is about as useful as me yelling at the refs on TV when I don't agree with a call. And then, of course, the conspiracies continue to roll in. Massive update, the bus driver just shared with us that all of these fuel stations for the buses, not cars, were completely depleted around the event, and they all had to drive 30 minutes away to get refueled. A few of the buses are stranded out on the road right now with no gas. And also, there were apparently 60 buses employed for this event, and the fuel reserves were completely depleted or never refilled before the event. This has to be looked into, followed by another tweet where he wrote, "Smells like sabotage." Because even when there is a simple solution, that Donald Trump didn't give enough of a shit about how his fans got back once he got what he needed, which was their applause, still these people will bend over backwards cooking up conspiracy theories about how actually it's the evil communist Marxist Democrats who are responsible for Trump not getting his fans transportation back to their cars. Even if it's obviously Trump's fault, it's never Trump's fault. And to that exact point, this Twitter user ultimately ended up deleting all of this, explaining how this couldn't possibly have been Trump's fault and it was all just one big misunderstanding and he didn't mean to create any drama. In other words, the guy realized that he was drawing attention to the fact that Trump screwed over his own fans, and rule number 1 in the cult is to protect the cult leader. And so even though Trump's campaign was responsible for the event and having adequate transportation at the event, still these people will bend over backwards to protect him. The relationship that Trump's fans have with him is textbook abusive. He screws them over, and in return, they protect him. Rinse and repeat. And you want to know the most ironic part of all of this? Here's what Trump said about California at this very rally in California.
We're going to take care of our farmers. We're going to take care of your water situation. And we'll force it down his throat. And we'll say, Gavin, if you don't do it, we're not giving you any of that fire money that we send you all the time for all the forest fires that you have.
In other words, this is Trump threatening to withhold assistance to the very state that these people live in, and yet these Trump supporters can't possibly understand how Donald Trump could leave them high and dry at his rally. The dude is broadcasting to you, to your face, that he will screw you over. It's not exactly a surprise that he then screws you over. Another reason, but we know this wasn't just some innocent mistake by the Trump team, he has literally done this before. Here's a news story from October of 2020.
He wrapped up his rally in Omaha, Nebraska last night. Hundreds of supporters were, though, left behind in nearly freezing temperatures.
Sounds like a rapture.
For hours with no transportation.
You've been left behind.
They were bussed in and then left there.
Oh, God.
Trump departed Omaha on Air Force One around 9 p.m.
So he flew out on his presidential jet.
Very comfortable in there with the
That's
refrigerator
awesome.
and people serving him
Eats a
up.
lot.
And he could wash his
Big
hands
Macs.
50 times. After the rally,
KFC.
attendees began lining up for buses because they were bussed in,
Mars
so they figured
bars.
they'd be bussed out, right, to return to their cars.
A lot of
These
Mountain Dew.
supporters, many of them were elderly, waited for those
Not
buses
her.
to take them to distant parking lots as vehicles tried to navigate through airport traffic. Reports placed the outdoor temperature at 32 degrees, according to the Washington Post. By 10:30 p.m., there were still no buses in sight. Crowds didn't fully clear the rally until 12:30 a.m., 3.5 hours after the president departed. Great planning. NBC, super spreader planning. NBC News has obtained Omaha police dispatch calls from Broadcastify that describe at least 7 people being taken to the hospital due to severe temperatures. A political reporter for the Omaha World Herald posted these last night with the message, if you're waiting on someone who attended the Trump rally in Omaha, it may be a while until they get a bus to get out. Traffic along the small roadway to the private side of Eppley Airfield is packed up and buses were having trouble getting through. Nebraska State Senator Megan Hunt tweeted supporters of the president were brought in, but buses weren't able to get back to transport people out. It is freezing and snowy in Omaha tonight. What people will do for this con man, what people have sacrificed is so sad to me. He truly does not care about you.
So how many times does this guy have to leave his supporters literally stranded out in the cold before it becomes clear that he does not give a shit about them? And of course, this is just the latest instance of Trump proving his disdain for his fans. The guy has spent the entirety of his campaign hawking straight up junk to his fans for their money. Crypto, coins, $2 bills, NFTs, trading cards, shoes, watches, hats, shirts. Donald Trump views his fans not as people, but as wallets to be turned over and emptied out. The utter disdain that he shows for the people who support him most is unlike anything I've ever seen before. So look, will it matter how many times we prove that Donald Trump has nothing but oozing contempt for his own fans? Probably not, because part of being in a cult is displaying slavish devotion to the cult leader. But for the rest of us who are willing to believe our own eyes, let this be a warning about what's at stake if Trump takes power. If he's willing to show such disdain for his most loyal fans, that puts on full display the extent to which he is not looking to help anyone but himself. He views his presidency as a way for Americans to serve him, not the other way around. So as we head toward November, make sure you vote to send a message that we are not looking to elect a king as the next president of the United States. Before you go, just a quick note, if you'd like to see more of my content, which is always free of advertising, sponsorships, and paywalls, please make sure to subscribe to this channel using the subscribe button right here on the screen. And if you'd like to support my work even further, you can grab a copy of my instant #1 New York Times selling book, Shameless, available for sale right now. That link is also on the screen. Thanks so much for watching.